What to Play presents the top 25 PS4 exclusives of all time, all arranged by PlayScore. To check our full list, visit our website at whattoplay.com. You can also take part in our rankings by leaving reviews of the games that you played. At the 25th place, Knack 2. One of the earliest PlayStation 4 exclusives, Knack 2 is, according to the internet, a meme game.
A masterpiece! Oh, look at the graphics on that! Look at the graphics on that game!
Knack is back.
We're not saying it's not good, it's actually kind of fun. It's a casual platforming experience that made a huge improvement since its first title, all thanks to the PlayStation 4 hardware. A play score of
10 out of 5.
of 7.89. Running in at 24th, Gran Turismo Sport. Any PlayStation owner would know what Gran Turismo is. The prized racing game of Sony, and Forza's arch nemesis, Gran Turismo is pumping out even more titles, and it even has the 8th major entry coming out next year. Gran Turismo Sport receives a play score of 7.98.
You're alive?
23rd place goes to Concrete Genie, a PlayStation 4 exclusive that transforms your controllers into a magical paintbrush. Not literally. Concrete Genie's colorless world is yours to paint. Befriend adorable ink genies and bring life to this gloomy town using the power of art and friendship. It receives a play score of 8. At the 22nd spot, Matterfall. With Housemarque's Returnal coming to the PS5 this month, let's take a look back at one of their stylish titles. Matterfall feels like a mishmash of Metroid and Resogun. Navigating around its pulsating levels feels badass. A play score of 8.03. At the 21st spot, Medieval. Rising from its grave is Sony's remake of the 1995 action hack-and-slash title from their PS1 era. It's packed to the grim with goofy humor, reminiscent of the good old days of gaming. Its unique Halloween-inspired levels feel similar to Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's charming and fun with a play score of 8.10.
Sir, incoming!
A little late, don't you think? Friday, suit up, now!
20th place goes to Marvel's Iron Man VR. More of a tech demo than an actual game. This is Sony and Marvel's way to lure players into buying their fabled PSVR. Soaring to the skies and blasting enemies using your repulsor beams is enjoyable if you're not easily disoriented by VR controls. With a play score of 8.14, Iron Man VR truly makes you feel like you're Iron Man. Except, you know, not dead.
And I am Iron Man. It's too late for you. You're already dead.
At 19th place, Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. If you're familiar with its anime counterpart, you know that this is going to be wild. Lost Paradise transforms this 80s anime into a full-fledged beat-em-up video game. Explore this post-apocalyptic Earth with nothing but swag. Any foe trying to square up your character will wish they were already dead. A play score of 8.19.
帝国歌劇団花組出撃せよ銀座に現れたコーマを殲滅する
At the 18th spot, Sakura Wars. Sakura Wars' confusing mix of genres was a weird surprise for PlayStation 4 owners. For starters, anyone who loves its steampunk anime aesthetic will enjoy its action RPG elements. Anyone who also likes dating sims will find something worth doing here, especially with its charming set of characters told in visual novel format. This receives a play score of 8.27. At the 17th place, Drive Club Bikes. Another pioneer of the PS4's long list of exclusives, Drive Club Bikes was the first of Sony's racing titles that pushed the limits of the consoles, flexing its impressive lighting and visuals. Compared to other motorcycle games on the market, Drive Club may show its age, but it's a solid entry and opened up PS4's success. A play score of 8.29. 16th place goes to Tearaway Unfolded. The team behind Little Big Planet cooked up an enhanced version of the 2013 PS Vita title. It's perfect to play with your little siblings or anyone who simply wants to enjoy its paper-crafted world. It's a PS4 exclusive that makes good use of its DualShock 4 controller, notably its touch and motion controls. A play score of 8.42. Number 15, Alienation. Another project from Housemarque. If you're already familiar with their works, you know that most of their titles are built for pure, mindless, twin-stick shooting enjoyment. Assemble your team of badasses and stop an alien horde from taking over the planet. A play score of 8.42. Number 14, The Last Guardian. Teaming up with a giant half-bird, half-mammal creature is something only Sony can do. Built under the same style and themes from Shadow of the Colossus and Ico, The Last Guardian's poignant story about this duo might tug a few heartstrings. Sure, it was delayed to almost oblivion, but at least it finally came out to the PS4 as an exclusive, after 9 years of development. A play score of 8.52. At the 13th spot, MLB The Show 17. You like baseball? Then at this point, you know about this Major League Baseball game from Sony. There are multiple titles of this game since it came out in 2006, but only this one got the highest among its PS4 exclusives. Don't worry about skipping these numbered titles, you're not missing out on anything. It's still baseball. A play score of 8.55.
This fast healing stuff is gonna come in real handy.
At the 12th spot, Infamous Second Son. Before Sucker Punch gave us Ghost of Tsushima, there was the Infamous series. It's a strong system seller for the PlayStation 4 way back in 2014. Second Son is all about the power fantasy. Collecting multiple powers and abilities transforms our lowly protagonist into a living weapon. Uncle Ben definitely has something to say about this. A play score of 8.59.
Tonight, we're gonna conduct a little experiment.
At the 11th spot, Until Dawn. Until Dawn was among the first titles that showed us how gaming can evolve their storytelling in a cinematic format. It's a horror game with big budget actors involved. Players were delighted to find out that they can make decisions that impact their character's fate, unlike in horror movies where everyone acts like they have a single brain cell. A play score of 8.60. At the 10th spot we have Gravity Rush 2. What started out as a PlayStation Vita gem is now getting its sequel to the PlayStation 4 as an exclusive. Gravity Rush 2 is gorgeous. Navigating around its surreal landscapes by manipulating time and space is somehow therapeutic. It receives a play score of 8.70. At 9th place, Dreams. Sony pushes community-driven content even further with its ever-expanding game creator from the makers of the Little Big Planet. Dreams is a hotbed of creativity and imagination. Hundreds of creators flaunt their game dev skills, some impressive, while others are, well...
Garfield has been found. Well, it's about damn time.
It's me, Joe Swanson. I'm on the toilet. Ah! Have you seen my son?
There he is. I found Garfield.
It's me.
What? Thumbs up.
it receives a play score of 8.81.
Crisis in Solana. According to the latest from the Galactic Rangers, famed lunatic Dr. Nefarious has been revealed as the architect behind the assault.
At the 8th spot, Ratchet and Clank. This dynamic duo jumps from one Sony system to another. With their PS5 sequel coming out soon, Ratchet and Clank's adventure in the PlayStation 4 breathed new life to the series' science fiction hijinks. With more planets to explore, both Ratchet and Clank will have new tools at their disposal. A play score of 8.81. At the 7th spot, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. Vanillaware's latest opus is a story-driven RTS game where we control 13 different protagonists that lead to a larger narrative. It's part mecha anime, part side-scrolling adventure. The tactical combat might seem intimidating at first, but once you get the hang of it, it opens up new doors to its overarching story. A play score of 8.86.
I know you wish things were different. I wish things were different.
Ellie!
But they ain't.
At the 6th spot, The Last of Us Part 2. Naughty Dog's latest signaled the PS4's final days as Sony's flagship console. Controversial as it may be, it presented a mature story that fleshes out the series' standout characters, especially Ellie. Gameplay is brutal yet satisfying.
Shit! Spotted them! Over!
Underneath its layers of impressive details is an effective story about humanity's flaws in a broken world. A play score of 8.98.
I've never seen a samurai fight like that.
It was nothing.
You're more than a samurai. He is a vengeful spirit, back from the grave to slaughter the Mongols.
At the 5th spot, Ghost of Tsushima. Going toe-to-toe with The Last of Us Part 2 as the PlayStation 4's swan song for AAA exclusives, Tsushima's fluid combat complements the game's beautiful oriental landscapes, war-torn and not. Sucker Punch did a great job giving players the full ninja experience. A play score of 9.11. At 4th place, Bloodborne. From Software is really taking the word exclusive seriously. Bloodborne's eldritch themes and reverberating soundtrack still haunt players to this day. Its collection of memorable bosses and fascinating lore makes us wish it's coming out to other consoles in 60 frames per second. But we know that's never gonna happen. A play score of 9.17.
The biggest pirate treasure of all time is within our grasp.
Look, Nate, I'm gonna make you a one-time offer. Drop everything. Go home. Live your life. Or we can just end it right here.
There's gotta be another way.
I need you on this one.
At the top 3, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Nathan Drake's final Uncharted game not only went out with a bang, but concluded his character from a thief with a deadly murder spree to a family man. A Thief's End pushed the Uncharted series even further with insane set pieces and highly detailed environments. We can't wait to see Tom Holland portray him in the upcoming movie. A play score of 9.38.
The gods of these realms don't take kindly to outsiders, trust me. When they find you, and they will, they'll make things difficult.
Long way from home, aren't you? And here I thought your kind was supposed to be so enlightened, so much better than us.
At the number 2 spot, God of War. The PlayStation 4 was the perfect console to showcase Kratos' transformation from a rampaging demigod to an incompetent dad.
You're next! I'll
rip your head off!
There are consequences to killing a god!
Why? How do you know? How do you know?
More of a soft reboot than a sequel, God of War's Nordic Realms is far from its previous title's Greek influence. There are even bigger threats to face here, including dragons, giant snakes, and even Thor himself. A play score of 9.53.
You are held captive. I beg you, save the world.
First place at number 1 is Persona 5 Royal.
It's time.
Once again, the Phantom Thieves retains their crown. Unless we get a PC port soon, it will remain at the top for a while. Royal is the definitive way to experience Persona 5, so forget about the vanilla version and play this instead. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on their latest red-headed waifu.
My weak self relied on you so much. That ends today. Let's do this, senpai!
A play score of 9.58.